So, Ina, this is big, a big day.
It's a big day.
Writing things down in a book from your memory, from your heart, from your childhood is one thing, and then having it in print and sort of presenting it to the world is kind of a different thing. People are going to be holding your heart, really, in their hands on the pages of this
Okay,
book.
you're going to make me cry to start with.
How does that sit with you?
I wanted it to be really true, and I've had this incredible experience where I came from one place and I ended up somewhere else. And it was with incredible deliberation and thought, and it's turned out so much better than I could have possibly imagined. And I just kind of wanted to share that and see if people connected with it and could use what I've learned along the way in their own lives.
Well, when I opened the book and I started reading it, I imagined, like a lot of kind of memoir books, that the very beginning would be like, I was born here on this street, and this is my parents, and this is what happened. But you didn't begin with your own childhood.
I didn't.
You started with Jeffrey.
Because that's when my life started. The life that I want to live, that's when it started. That's why I wanted to start there. I was really so restricted as a child. I wasn't allowed to think for myself. I wasn't allowed to do things. My ideas were thwarted. I was always told whatever I wanted to do wasn't a good idea. And so I wasn't myself. I was scared and I was alone. And when I met Jeffrey, he was just the opposite. Everything I thought was brilliant. Everything I wanted to do was just a wonderful idea.
Let's talk about your mom for a second. When you think about your mom, how would you describe her to a stranger?
I think now looking back, it wasn't known then, but I think she was somewhat on the spectrum. I think she didn't know how to have a relationship, and I think that scared her. And I can really empathize with how scary that is to try and have a relationship. But as a child, it was very hard to have a mother you couldn't have a relationship with.
So when you came home and you said, oh, I scraped my knee, or oh, this person was
Nobody
mean to me.
asked. She said, go to your room and study, because it was safer for her to be on her own and have me somewhere else.
So when you got a cold and you were sick, like a lot of kids get, and you needed, your mom and chicken soup or whatever kids need.
I was in my bedroom with a bell. If I needed something, I could ring for a bell, and she'd come and give it to me and then leave.
What about hugs and kisses?
No hugs and kisses in my family. It was a very cold, lonely existence. I have to tell you, it took me till I was like 40 to understand that it was different from other people's childhoods.
Because that was your world.
That was my world. That's what I knew.
How did you know that your mother loved you?
I'm not sure that I did. I don't know that she was capable. I think she did the things a mother should do. She would take me to museums. She would get food on the table. She would do the things that she knew a mother should do, but none of it was done with joy or warmth or I see you and I think this will make you feel good. And that's what my whole world is about. That's what I love to do. I mean, I take care of Jeffrey because I love doing it. It just gives me such joy to make something that he loves.
Did it strike you that just then, I think you just sort of said, you're not sure if your mother loved you?
Yeah. She didn't understand me, actually. I'm sure about that. That's where Jeffrey comes in.
That's where Jeffrey, and I want to get to Jeffrey because, I think that everything makes sense in your life. To me, it's much clearer now than ever before.
Thank you, Hoda.
With your dad was, I think you describe him as kind of scary, maybe is an understatement.
To a young girl, yeah.
Yeah. So what made it scary in your house?
My father had very strict views of what we should do. Such as when we do homework, that we get straight A's, that we play tennis, there are certain things he expected of us, and anything even slightly deviated from that was met with extreme anger.
Like what kind?
Like hitting. So it was scary. I actually stayed in my room to stay safe. And can I just say, people had much worse childhoods than I did. I mean, I had lots of opportunities, and I had wonderful friends outside. I felt like I had great friends, and I had wonderful life. It's just in the house, it was a scary place.
So when you said your dad was violent, you describe in one place that he grabbed you by the hair and dragged you around. What do you remember about that?
I think I was terrified that he was going to kill me. I think I was terrified that, I don't know, it was terrifying. And what I realize now is it astonishes me that I didn't have the courage as a child to fight back. I just tried to disappear. Is that what most children would do?
Would have done, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I did.
Do you remember what sparked his rage? Like, because sometimes kids take mental notes.
It could have been anything. I was aware that it was not necessarily something I did. Very often I was like, what did I do that created that? I didn't know what sparked his rage. I mean, if I got an A- in school, he would go ballistic.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, it was tough.
Did you tell anybody what was happening in your house?
In writing the memoir, I talked to a lot of friends that I had in high school, found them, which was so much fun. None of them had any idea. But they also knew that they never came to my house.
So as a little kid to keep a secret like that is too much to bear. Sorry, for a little kid, it's too much to carry. Like, you're a little girl, you're trying to get straight A's, you're trying to make sure that you're tiptoeing around your parents.
Yes.
You're not able to tell anybody what life is like when you go inside. I mean, how did you survive that?
I think I buried it. And I think maybe that's why it took me until I was 40 and talking to a therapist to actually understand. I remember saying my father was very scary, and that was a terrible. And she said, "What was your mother like?" I was like, "Oh, my mother wasn't important." And then she asked me one question, which is interesting, the same question you asked. What did your mother do when you were sick?
Oh.
And I thought, wow. I mean, most mothers would want to take care of you when you were sick. My mother didn't want to be anywhere near me because she was a germaphobe and didn't want to be in the room. So I began to understand that my mother was actually as much of a force in my life as a child as my father was.
Wow.
So I think I buried that.
So you had this life inside the house that was isolating and scary and all the things. Did you ever have bruises? Did you ever have to explain, or was it not like that?
It was never that bad.
Okay.
It was never that bad.
So, but at school, the school Ina was different.
Yeah, I had
The
friends. I
school
was
Ina,
popular.
yes.
I dated anybody I wanted to date. I was, I had a great life.
So you had confidence, and yet I was reading in your book how you said that your dad said to you, "No one's ever going to love you."
Isn't that stunning?
Why did he
Could you
say
say that
that?
to you have two daughters?
Yes.
Could you say that to a daughter no matter how angry you were? I
said-
think I was about 13, and he was mad about something. I have no idea what. And he said, "Nobody will ever love you." And do you know what I love? That I love walking up Madison Avenue, and every other block somebody leans in and says, "I love you." And it makes me, it's this great cosmic joke to me. It's like, oops, I guess he was wrong.
You know what's also funny about you? I feel like you weren't seen in your house.
Not
you
at
weren't
all.
seen.
Not at all.
And now you work in a profession where everybody sees you. Everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really lovely.
But maybe that's why you subconsciously why you chose it. Like, you went down this path, and I don't know, but.
Well, one of the things that I found in the show that I do now called Be My Guest, which I would love you to come be my guest.
I do want to be your guest.
It's about connecting with people and cooking with people, and it is so satisfying to me. And I was kind of looking recently at what is it that's different? And I thought, oh, of course, this is what I was missing. This is what I was craving for when I was a child, is having relationships with people.
What were meals like at your house when you were a kid?
They were. It was about getting dinner on the table.
Oh.
It was broiled chicken, canned peas. It was never about flavor or feeling good or treating yourself. There were no carbohydrates allowed.
Wait, why?
Not because my mother thought they were bad for you.
Was she
no fat? She was trained as a dietitian before she was married, so that was her. But she was also very extreme. If you wanted a cookie after school, she would just go, "Oh, eat an apple." I mean, an apple's not
I know,
a child's
not a-
idea of a treat after school.
Right, but there was no comfort food. None of the
No,
things that
nothing.
kids have.
Nothing.
Spaghetti,
Absolutely
pizza.
nothing. I would go to school. I think I told this in the memoir. I would go to school with a sandwich, with a sardine sandwich. I mean, no sane child wants a sardine sandwich, but you can't trade it for anything. And all I wanted was peanut butter and jelly, but it was forbidden.
So mealtime was really just to get some kind of vitamins into your body.
Exactly.
Bland, not a time of joy
Exactly.
or visiting or enjoying.
And I was just searching for flavor.
You were seeking for that. So again, you start your book with Jeffrey. So you're living this existence, and Jeffrey somehow, you always say, what if I wasn't at this spot at the right time?
Oh my!
But
The
you,
serendipity is astonishing.
you meet Jeffrey,
Yeah.
and you knew, didn't you? Did you know?
Did I know? I think I knew that he was kind and smart and funny. And it's funny, when I was in high school, I remember thinking I would date a guy who was like popular and fun, and then I'd date a nerdy guy who was really smart.
Yeah.
But I never found the guy who was both.
Both things.
And when I met Jeffrey, I knew he was both.
How did he change your life at that young age?
He just took total delight in me. He made me feel so smart and funny and thoughtful and wonderful, and he was too. All I wanted to do was just go to Dartmouth and spend time with him.
So he was in college.
He was in college, I was in high school.
And you were in high school.
Yeah.
And then you had a very brave conversation with your mother because you really wanted to be with him. And your mother did not want it to be. Why did she not want you to be with Jeffrey?
She thought she knew better for me. She just knew. And it was, Jeffrey had called them to say he wanted to come talk to them, and they, of course, assumed it was to ask for my hand. And my parents just drove right up to college. I was in the middle of final exams. I thought, whoa, this is going to be bad. I thought my father was going to be in a rage because he always said one of his rules was you never get married until you've finished college. And I was a sophomore at that time. And my mother walked in and said, I don't think you should get married. And I said, I'm really sorry. And I did this with as much love as I could. But this is the first time I'm ever going to say this to you. I don't care what you think. I'm marrying Jeffrey. It just took a lot of courage to just tell her.
By the way, that took all the courage in the world,
It
didn't
did.
it? Your
For
heart
me,
must
it
have been
did.
pounding.
Yeah.
So you say the words,
Yeah.
and she says,
She walks out of the room.
oh, she walked out.
And then my father came in. I thought, oh my God.
Oh, this
I'm
is going to be
dead.
worse.
It's going to be worse. And he said, I think this is the smartest thing you've ever done.
He said he thought this was the smartest thing.
He said, I think this is the smartest thing
What,
you've ever done.
did Jeffrey just charm him?
Oh, well, I
of
mean.
course. Jeffrey.
Hello.
And there's Jeffrey. So remember, I mean, this was the man who said no one's ever going to love you. So why did he tell me about this
I
revelation?
think he just admired Jeffrey. I mean, he thought he was a wonderful guy. He would come to my house all the time to, from Hanover, New Hampshire. We'd drive for hours and hours and hours to come see me, and he would spend the weekend at my house. And my parents were just charmed. I mean, as I think my mother made spaghetti and meatballs. I mean, we'd never seen spaghetti and meatballs before, and I think that they just really liked him as I would imagine anybody would.
He charmed your dad,
Yeah.
and now you'd find the one. So tell me what your wedding was like. Did your mom come? Was she for it?
I think they got behind it.
Yeah, they
They
did.
got behind it. And also, I think one of the things that happened, particularly with my dad, I don't think he believed he was going to marry me. But once he did, and he saw us together, it changed his view of me. Because he saw me through Jeffrey's eyes. And it was the beginning of the change in our relationship.
So now your dad, who's known you since you were
Yeah.
born,
Saw me for the first
saw
time.
you because a man loved you.
Isn't that extraordinary?
That's extraordinary.
Yeah. And I have to say, many years later, we were sitting together at they gave a book party for me for one of my books, and we were sitting together, and he just turned to me and said, I don't know what I was thinking. And I thought, wow, he's been torturing himself all this time.
Your father said this?
He said this. It meant everything to me. He said, I'm sorry. And I thought that was an incredibly difficult thing for a man to say, a father to say, that I was wrong and you were right. And then we could have a perfectly fine relationship.
Were you shocked?
Shocked. I didn't even know how to react. I was so shocked. I
didn't
didn't
react.
react.
Yeah.
I didn't want to engage in a conversation. It was so shocking.
He was just sitting in
I
it
was
for a
just sitting.
minute.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
What did his
exactly
eyes
right.
tell you? He just said, you just knew.
I just knew. Yeah.
So your relationship started healing after he apologized.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that
Wow.
extraordinary?
That's extraordinary.
And extraordinary of him to do.
Yeah, because especially that generation, they just
They
carried
rationalize.
it, and yeah.
I did what I was supposed to do as a parent.
I did my best.
Yeah,
I did
being
my
a parent
best.
isn't a popularity contest. I mean,
yeah, that we've heard that one. So when people think of you and Jeffrey, they think relationship goals, and in fact, that's the hashtag every time y'all do something. Relationship goals, Ina and Jeffrey. You know, when people see, they ask about Jeffrey. So in your book, you reveal that it was not always smooth sailing, and in fact, you guys at one point separated. And I was interested to know, you know, it starts off as kind of a fairy tale. And
it was.
Yeah, and what happened?
It was the 70s, and I think the girl that Jeffrey married was growing. I mean, it was the beginning of the women's movement. And in all fairness, I had to say, Jeffrey always encouraged me to have my own life. He said very early on, you really need to figure out what you want to do with your life. If you don't, you won't be happy. And I was just stunned because it never occurred to me that I would do anything. So he was somewhat forward thinking, but as a couple, he was always the husband and I was the wife. And that was what he expected, and he had every reason to expect it. So I would, you know, take care of the house, and I would take care of the laundry, and I would cook dinner, and all of those things. And I think as the women's movement was becoming, sifting into our consciousnesses, I began to kind of resent those roles. And of course, if I were a man, I would love that somebody did it. So there was a little resistance there. And I think he couldn't really hear what I was saying. And then when I went off to buy my own business and I got comfortable for the first time being on my own with my own business, I was feeling good about it. I found those roles kind of chafed a little more than they did.
So in that moment, so you had the Barefoot Contessa business, you dove into it head first, and Jeffrey kind of liked you to make dinner, take care of everything. So you had to have a brave conversation with Jeffrey, the love of your life. How long have you been married at that point?
We'd been married for 10 years.
So 10 years. So you're going to have a talk with him. And what was the conversation?
Well, we took a walk on the beach, and I just said to him, I need to be on my own for a little while. And I mean, he's just... what made it even harder is he said, if you feel like you need to be on your own, you need to be on your own.
Wow.
And we were in West Hampton, and he was living in Washington and working at the State Department, and he went back to Washington and didn't come back.
Did you have buyer's remorse where you're like, wait, maybe I shouldn't have said that? Or
I felt I said the right thing, but it was really scary because I said it to somebody I really deeply loved, but I wasn't happy at the moment. I really wasn't happy.
What were you asking him to do, or what did you want him
I wanted
to do?
a partner.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be the wife, and I didn't want him to be the husband. I wanted a partner. And I couldn't quite get that message through. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to put on the brakes. I'm going to hit the pause button and see if I can shift that. And so we didn't live together for months.
Oh, wow.
He went on a trip around the world for the State Department, and when he came back, we met each other. We met in California, and we just sat and talked and said, okay, if you aren't the husband, is there anything that you would like to do that you feel like you can't do? And he said, I'd like to travel more because I'm responsible for you. I feel like I can't. And I said, you're not responsible for me.
Okay.
We're responsible for each other, and you can travel. And he changed his life. And I changed my life.
And
It
what
turns
did
out
you ask for?
I love making dinner.
Yeah, of course.
I just didn't want somebody to expect me to make dinner.
Right. And what did you want from him?
A little more openness, maybe, that
Yeah.
he didn't have to be so perfect all the time. He didn't need to be the dad.
He sounds a lot like your dad early on.
Yeah.
Perfect, wanted it, a certain way. We're all attracted to that. I mean, but what the difference is you guys reintroduced yourself to each other.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We reintroduced ourselves on a different basis. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm falling in love with somebody who happens to be my husband. It was an incredible experience. A therapist once said to me, and I just love this, that when two people get married young, they tend to marry somebody who had the qualities that they wish they had. And as they get older, they either find those qualities annoying
Yeah.
or they grow more alike. And in this moment, Jeffrey and I grew more alike.
Wow. So
Isn't that interesting?
that is, by the way, that's beautiful. That is interesting. And so now you guys are on much more solid footing. You know who you are.
Yeah.
The subject of children and having kids, was that something that, given how you were raised, that you thought, full stop, no? Or were you open to it? And what was the story there?
When I got married, I just thought I would be the wife, and we would have children, and we would have a traditional relationship. And as in my 20s, I kind of resisted having children. I was like, why would I want to recreate that nightmare that I just came from? And I thought that's what life at home with children would be. It never occurred to me that other people's lives were different, and because that was my experience. And so I kept putting it off and putting it off. And then one day, maybe when I was around 25, I thought, I just don't want to have children. I just don't want to do that. And thank God, he is just amenable to what I want. He wants me to be happy, and it was okay.
Wow. So did you have a conversation about it, or was it one of those things that
It was one of those things that every once in a while it would come up, and I would just go, not now.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And he would let it go, and then it would come up again, maybe a year later, and I was like, I don't think the time's right. And then it just never came up again.
Yeah. And this is, and as you sit here and look back, you're satisfied and glad with the way that you chose. I could tell. Yeah, for sure.
I can't even imagine. I see my friends who are madly in love with their children, have a wonderful life. I just don't know if I would have been a good parent, and I love my life the way it is now, and I couldn't possibly have had it if I had children. I just couldn't have done it.
Right, because being a good parent sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have to model it from somewhere. You have to see, So during all that time when you were, I'll go back for 1 second, when you were kind of struggling at home and you had to get straight A's and all that, did you have somebody who was your cheerleader? Did you have somebody who believed? Did you have one person who said, I know you got something special,
I don't remember anybody picking me out of the chorus line and saying, you're different.
Wow.
And maybe I'm not. Maybe I just was.
By the way, you are different. Somebody missed it, a bunch of people, but it revealed itself at the right time. You said your dad and you had a moment that you feel like smoothed it over. When your mother was alive, did you guys ever get to have that conversation?
I think my mother just wasn't capable of having that conversation. I always knew that I would do for her what I needed to do as a mother, and I would go see her when she was in assisted living, and I did everything I needed to do to take care of her, but I didn't give her any pleasure. She would just keep me at arm's length as much as possible, and so I thought, okay, I'll take care of her, because that's what I need to do, but I'm never going to have a relationship with her.
Wow. What did you lose the day your parents died?
What did I think I had separated from them so much that I don't think it really had an enormous impact on me. I was surprised that I was sadder about my father than I expected to be.
You did.
But my mother and I never had anything, so
Right.
I did what I needed to do, and I'm glad I did. But I didn't really lose much.
I think your career path is so fascinating to me because
Thank you, Hoda.
like you said, to grow up at a table that was like boring old chicken and veggies, and to become this person and to have, to go down the road you went through Washington and enjoying science and then finding the science in cooking. But beyond all of that, this is a crowded field to emerge as the one. And I need to say about you, whenever you come to the studio, when I have friends who've come who don't want to meet anybody, they don't even care what celebrity's there. But if you're there, they want to meet you. There's something that you've done to people that has sort of, they feel like they know you in a way that others don't. Did you ever imagine yourself in this, where you are today, with this incredible life?
I think of myself as I do what I love to do, and I don't have any goals. I don't set up a path for myself. I just do. Today I'm going to decide what I'm going to do tomorrow, and tomorrow I'm going to do it as well as I can possibly do it, and then tomorrow I'll figure out what to do the next day. But I think if you have too many long-term goals. You cut things out. You're not open to things that happen along the way. Does that sound right?
It's good. That's a great life lesson. Yes.
And so something may come across my screen and I go, not interested in that. Something else comes, not interested in that. I'm really busy, and something else comes along, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's really interesting.
That's cool.
Let's look at that. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not right, but maybe I'll dip my toe in the water and see if it's interesting, and get a feel for it.
I feel like you have a lot of life lessons in this book.
Thank
but what
you.
would you say the overarching one was for you?
I think what Jeffrey said to me so many years ago, do what you love. If you love it, you'll be really good at it. I think it's so important, no matter what, and somebody once told me, who was a career therapist, helps people find careers. It was a client of mine at the store. I said, what do you ask people to figure out what career they should have? And she said, I always ask them what they used to do when they were 10. Because that's what they did before they had shoulds, and I should be a doctor, I should be a lawyer. That's what they just love to do, and then figure out how to make a career out of it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Isn't that good?
I feel like
You love talking to people, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I think I always did.
And you found a career so you could do that.
I'm still talking. I feel like you in your life needed someone to give you permission to do the things
myself.
you love, to be you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're 100% you?
100%. 100%.
That feels so good.
I think I surround myself with people, not that love me, that I feel love for.
Ooh.
And that makes me feel good. And I think no matter what, doing this, I mean, it's just such a pleasure talking to you. It's in my professional life, my team, I love them. Every day I get up in the morning and I walk across the lawn and I get to test recipes, which I love doing, with people I love. And then I go home for Jeffrey, and I love taking care of Jeffrey. And he loves taking care of me.
I love that. To find your voice sometimes in a industry that you were just getting acquainted with. So when you were first doing a cookbook, you had an idea of what you wanted. Right. You're like, here's what I want. I want pictures and recipes and the publishing company thought that was a horrible idea.
Terrible idea.
Terrible idea. Yeah. But you said, no, we're going to do it this way. What happened after that?
Well, first I found a champion in the publishing house, which is Chip Gibson, who was the head of Crown, who just said to everybody else, just get out of her way. Let her do what she wants to do. He was like the first champion for me. He was just extraordinary.
Okay.
And I felt all the books then were 250 recipes and no pictures. Not like, who needs 250 recipes? Yeah. So I wrote the book I wanted to write, and everybody that tried to pull me off my game, I said, this is what I'm going to do, and if it's a bad idea, they'll never have to see me again anyway.
Yeah.
So it won't sell.
So when you said that, was it right that the publisher made you buy like 5,000 books?
The contract I first got, remember, I had never written a book in my life, so they had no reason to believe that I knew what I was doing, and I didn't know. So my contract was for 10,000 books, and I had to buy 5,000, which I would sell in the store, which I thought, oh, okay, so I'll sell 5,000 books.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of books.
It's a lot of books, and they wanted a check for $85,000 when the books were delivered, and I was like, I don't have $85,000.
So you had to write them a check for your book.
For the books that we were going to sell.
Okay,
exactly.
And then what happened?
So, then I hired my own publicist, who was just fantastic, and by the time we got to the pub date, they had actually ordered 25,000 books, but I still had to buy those 5. So they were shipped out to me, and I was like, I don't even know, would they fill this room, or do I need like a storage container? A huge truck shows up with 5,000 books, and 3 days after the day the first book was published, they called me up and said, those 5,000 books, we've sold the other ones. We need them back immediately. And so I thought, I guess I was right.
Oh, you were right.
And nobody ever said that, but I thought that.
So good to trust your instincts, but especially in a world where everybody supposedly knows better, it's like a weird thing, because you think if I do this, maybe they do know better. Maybe they know what's up.
I have no idea what gave me the courage to say no to them, because they're the biggest publishing house in the world. Yeah. My particular publisher, Clarkson Potter, sold more cookbooks, and I had the top editor. And I don't know what gave me the courage to say, no, this is the way I want to do it, but I just couldn't do it any other way. Oh my gosh. And so It turned out okay,
Wow,
fortunately.
wow, wow. So when you look ahead at I mean, I feel like so many people are having all these kind of rebirths in their life, especially later. I interviewed Jamie Lee Curtis, I interviewed Jodie Foster, this one, that one. So many people are having this kind of new resurgence. How do you picture this next kind of decade for you going forward?
Well, when I sold the store, and I was 50, and I thought, well, maybe my career's over. And it turns out, when I started writing cookbooks, it hadn't even started yet. So, and that was such a surprise. And I was 52 when my first book came out. And then TV happened. As many times as I said no to TV, it happened. Yeah. And it's just gotten better and better. I have no idea what's ahead, and I don't need to know. I feel like I just need to be open to what's out there and what comes around, and something will happen that'll go, that's really interesting. Maybe I'll try that. So I don't spend any time thinking about what's next. I love what I do now. I'm really happy doing it. And if something else comes along, could be interesting.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.